HVAC 360, episode number 56. Schneider Electric. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of HVAC 360. I'm your host, Matt Nelson. This week, we're going to continue our tour of the AHR Expo at Dallas, Texas, here in 2013. One thing I like to do with these recordings from the AHR Expo, I kind of like to give you, if you never get a chance to go to the AHR Expo, at least you kind of get the feel and the vibe of the place. You're sitting there talking to somebody and, there's conversations kind of going on all around you. I don't necessarily, get these people off in a booth somewhere. I'm kind of always being, jostled to move my bag and stuff like that. And we're trying to get a look at different things. So I just kind of give you that perspective, and I think it's really cool that, you get to be there. So, also, hey, one thing I was wondering about, did anybody, if you were at the HR Expo, anybody see me in my HVAC 360 shirt? This is the second time that I've actually worn my shirt out to the HR Expo, and I know it's kind of like seeing a needle in a haystack, but I was wearing my shirt, sporting my shirt, trying to promote the cause here at HVAC 360, and I wondered if anybody saw me. So if you did, I would really appreciate, and I thought I'd be tickled to death if you would drop me a line at matt@buildingx.co. If you did, I'd love to hear from you. So now this week we're talking to Kathleen Heming. She is the Director of Building Management Systems and Commercial Marketing over at Schneider Electric. Now that what they were releasing this week was what they call SmartStruxure. And that was something that was, I kind of got a little bit of a understanding of what it was before the show, but you kind of get in during our conversation, you'll get to the point where there was something I missed that was kind of really crucial, and that was the fact that this is actually a building automation system, complete soup to nuts, which was it really caught me flat-footed through the interview. But it just makes this product all that more exciting. I think if I were giving out little gold stars for the most innovative thing that I saw there, probably have to give this probably a big thumbs up, a big gold star for the show. Out of all the people I interviewed, I think this was probably the most exciting for me to kind of get to know. So anyway, let us just go and hear from Kathleen as we talk about SmartStruxure. So let's go and cut to the tape. All right, we're on the floor of the AHR Expo here in Dallas, 2013. We're standing here with Kathleen Heming, who is the Director of Commercial Marketing of the Building Management System and Buildings business. Yeah, very long title. How are you doing, Kathleen?
I'm doing well. How are you, Matt?
I am doing very well, thank you. So we're at Schneider Electric. I should have said that in the beginning. Schneider Electric. If somebody doesn't know about Schneider Electric, what's kind of your 5 minutes or 15 seconds?
My 15-second elevator pitch. Well, yeah. Schneider's too big to talk about in 15 seconds, but Schneider is a world leader in power solutions and energy efficiency. We organize offers around power management, process and machine management, IT room management, building management, which is the division I represent, as well as security management.
Excellent. Now, you had the big announcement today. What was that?
Our biggest announcement was we are revealing in the U.S. market the launch of our new next-generation building management system, SmartStruxure.
SmartStruxure, okay. So what can you tell me about SmartStruxure?
SmartStruxure is a new building management system that provides kind of a unique architecture. We have full support for all of the open industry protocols like LAN, BACnet, Modbus, all natively built into a single box, our automation server. We also are developed on the foundational core of Schneider Electric's EcoStruxure architecture.
Okay, so you got SmartStruxure, you got EcoStruxure. I feel a theme coming on here. So how exactly does that fit in? I mean, what is EcoStruxure and how does it relate to SmartStruxure?
It's a good question. So EcoStruxure is an integrated system architecture that Schneider Electric has developed to sit at the core of all of our offers and services. And it enables interoperability between the various different offers in those domains. So power management, distribution, process and machine. We have actually in the other side of the Schneider booth here, HVAC retrofit equipment that is actually integrated quickly, easily, and seamlessly into our SmartStruxure building management system.
Okay.
So it's shop floor to top floor, boiler room to board room. I mean, lots of marketing things, but it's the ability to go from the lowest level of your facility to the highest level and manage your energy consumption and optimize performance.
Okay, so getting back to the SmartStruxure, what does it do?
SmartStruxure it's a building management system in the traditional sense,
okay,
and it allows you to monitor and control all of your HVAC equipment. It also provides you with the ability to analyze that data coming up so that you can go back and optimize again and identify where you might have issues that you're going to have to go manage at a local level. In addition, it provides a lot of technology that enables you to analyze at a higher level for energy consumption. So you can do trending reports that maybe benchmark a building's performance with another building's performance and identify and allow you to, again, look for different ways to manage your energy.
Now, that was one of my questions that I had coming into this, because I'm like, I see SmartStruxure, and sometimes you see solutions like this, and they kind of sit on top of the building management system. But you're saying this is a building management system.
It's a building management system and an integration platform.
Right.
So it not only will integrate all of the various other systems you have in the building, it will actually perform the direct control as well.
So you've actually created the system with the optimization in mind, as opposed to having a system and then retrofitting a solution on this.
Correct.
Now, obviously, this is a pretty big step, for Schneider. I didn't realize that it was a complete solution. You're going up against, well-established brands. What was the purpose of doing it now?
Well, and I'd like to think that some of those well-established brands are Schneider brands,
right, in
the building management. We have Andover Continuum. We have the IA series product line. We have several, 5 or 6 today, that are global offers. And when we developed our SmartStruxure solution, we developed it with an idea of being able to help those customers who've already invested in those brands transition seamlessly. So it's almost an upgrade for them rather than have to go out and rip out and replace all of their existing equipment.
So we'd say this would be backwards compatible to all the existing Andover, the other systems.
All of our existing product lines that will be able to come in. There's a seamless transition path that will be released for each one of those product lines over the next year and a half.
Well, that is huge.
Yeah,
that is huge.
It's a very novel approach. It's certainly a big benefit to our customer because they get to keep that investment in those existing field controllers, which are it's a pretty hefty piece of the investment.
It is.
Yeah.
It would be cost prohibitive if they had to go out and replace it all.
Yeah, they're crawling into floor spaces and yeah. So this is a simple switch. They change out a network controller box, install the new software, and they're ready to go.
Excellent. Now, obviously, this has to be one of the holy grails of, in looking at the literature, because the optimization package, that's so key. It seems like it has a lot of intelligence built into it. So what sorts of things can it do?
We've spent a lot of time in the development and looking at our existing product lines and trying to take the best out of each one. One of the things that we really focused heavily on was developing smarter engineering strategies and putting more intelligence in. We have devices that we call smart widgets, for example.
Okay.
A smart widget is a prepackaged bit of code that enables automatically the integration with another type of device, a power meter, for example. So I no longer have to have an engineer who is super skilled in doing Modbus or complicated programming to integrate his equipment. I have a smart widget. I can just drag it onto my screen, connect my points, and voila, I'm integrated. So I'm good to go. So that was a very big investment for us in the engineering strategies. It also has, from a customer's perspective, analytics that are built into the system that allow that customer to more easily identify where he has areas in his building that he can go optimize his energy. So drag and drop trending. I can just take a building that would be sitting over here on my left-hand side, drag the energy trends out of that, get another building, drag it, and immediately identify.
Now, obviously, one of the bigger things that at least I see engineers wanting, if you look at different facility managers wanting, they're wanting dashboards, something that are easier to look at, something that's clearly understandable, and that's something that I've found out in the field that when you talk to other manufacturers, isn't such an easy thing. They're getting there, but I mean, clearly that's something that your solution is shooting for.
It is. We actually provide standard with SmartStruxure some very easy dashboard tools. I'd be happy to show them to you, but hard to show your audience. But we have some that we provide, and in addition, you can customize the dashboard for customers. And we provided all of the graphics to build those dashboards fairly quickly. You can build one that's specific to a customer's facility based on their campus maps in a matter of moments.
So this is something that you don't necessarily have to be a programmer of your system. Once you kind of do a little preliminary training of the building staff, they could actually set up trends or look at dashboards. If they wanted to change it, it would be easy to do. It's not a reprogramming of the system.
Correct. And one of the things that we're, I would say, very proud of with SmartStruxure is the graphics capability itself. It's a TGML graphics, and so you can actually drill down into a component, blow it up. It doesn't lose resolution. It stays crisp and clear as you drill down. So for a customer, a facility manager who's trying to look at maybe a small area on a screen, he can blow it up and he loses no resolution and has much better insight. It's very user-friendly. So the user experience within the system is very crisp.
Now, is this is something that's based on the? It's a web-based platform. Is that? Am I correct in saying that?
It's got web services built into it.
Okay.
The heart of our system is the automation server, which is a web server embedded into the box, and so a customer doesn't even have to install the PC software. They can, using the automation server and the IP address, go straight in and manage and control all of the equipment. And from the web, they'll see the same interface that they would as if they were working off of their PC desktop.
Now, okay, so what if somebody has brand X and they see the system, they really like it, what do they do? I mean, is it something that they can just easily integrate or retrofit into their system, or is it a more
tricky question?
Yeah.
So it's going to depend on brand X.
Yes.
But the majority of the building industry supports 2 or 3 open standards today: LAN, BACnet, Modbus, and the emerging standard of web services.
Okay.
So within SmartStruxure, we support all of those in the same box. You don't even have to order a different model for each of those protocols. It's all built into the same box. So we usually, using one of those open standards, we can still help that customer salvage some investment in their field controllers.
Now, a lot of times when you talk about overlay solutions, typically what you'd have is you'd have a building automation system, then you'd have a what they refer to as a JACE, or kind of a connection point, and then they could integrate into that. Is that something similar that would have to happen?
You could describe it. It would be similar. So the JACE is, in your example, comes from the Tritium line. Similar in style and architecture, if you will, maybe to the automation server. The difference I believe that we have is that we've built everything into the single box. so that you have the ability to have both lawn and backnet simultaneously.
Okay.
So I could have a field controller line that is a lawn-based system. I could have another one that maybe came from another competitor that's backnet. And I should be able to integrate all of those back up if they've been engineered to true open standards.
Okay, so you might have to do some work, but essentially you could do it without a Jace is what you're saying.
Correct.
Okay.
We would use our automation server. And again, a lot of it does depend on the technology of the competitive system. And, there are open standards and there are open standards, and just making sure that they're engineered properly to the true open standard, and we would not have an issue.
Right. Now, getting back to the analytics of the whole thing, how deep does that go? I mean, is there predictive failure, if your KW is KW per ton is increasing, is that something that they can you can flag at a certain level if you know that you want to if your coils might be fouling up or something like that? I mean, is that
you could do that within the system. You would have to make sure that ahead of time you know what you want and what the data is that you're looking for, and you could develop the programming and the algorithms for that type of an analytics basis. However, we have other offers that come in and can work harmoniously with this that do much more advanced analytics. So if you're looking for somebody who's really, that's what their focus is on the analytics, I probably recommend that they look at our analytics package that sits on top. And it works seamlessly with the system. So it depends on the level of the person,
right,
and what their role is.
Right.
We have a lot of people, data centers, for example, where you have a facility manager who manages that data center, and he has somebody on his staff who's really focused on working with the power meters and the electrical devices. We can do all of that in SmartStruxure, but because of the role of that person, he's going to probably be more suitable to use something like our power operation or one of our other software systems to look at those devices.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that we're matching the role with the function with the solution.
All right. Now, as far as the data goes, obviously, when you look at trending, when you look at some of the different systems that are out there, are you able to, download, the data and keep it, a archived copy of
extensive
of
archiving capability, very, very reliable. You can keep histories, from eons back. We have drag and drop trending. It can be managed locally within the automation server. It can be saved off onto data servers, and data farms are protected if you have regulatory requirements. A lot of times that's kind of a need.
Okay. Now, not that I know that anybody does this, but I'll ask this question anyway. As far as it being able to kind of be interoperable with some of the CMMS systems of building operators, generating tickets, something goes wrong, there's a trouble call, sending out an alert. Is there a way that it integrates right now? Like I said, I don't know if anybody does, but I just thought I'd ask the question that, there's a lot of...
Schneider's got a long history in integration. Our Andover Continuum platform is famous for its integration capabilities. We've leveraged a lot of that knowledge and investment and embedded that into SmartStruxure. Again, almost all of these kind of what I'm going to call specialty systems in a building all communicate, either LAN, BACnet, Modbus, or web services. And web services is the way of the future. It's where all of the industry is going. It's a common language. And within Schneider, we've adopted web services and embraced it, and actually have enhanced it. We have a Schneider version that we call EcoStruxure Web Services that allows us even stronger and tighter communication connectivity within other Schneider systems. And that EcoStruxure Web Services is something that we make available to our partner providers that are third party.
Okay.
So we can work with them to embed web services within their protocols, and we've done that several times. So we have a history of that.
Okay. Now, I guess, how does this, I know that you have other modules you can interface with. I've come across the phrase, CapEx and OpEx.
Mm-hmm. We love CapEx and OpEx.
Because
we're all about saving CapEx and OpEx. Yes.
So what is CapEx and OpEx for somebody?
Well, CapEx would be capital expenditures.
Okay.
So generally speaking, CapEx is going to be the budget that a company would set aside for a significant investment, a retrofit, maybe it's a new wing, possibly even a new building. OpEx is going to be the maintenance budget that they have set aside to manage that facility and be able to kind of take care of routine service calls, routine updates, and routine maintenance. One of the things with SmartStruxure is that we were really focused on being able to try to help our customers optimize both CapEx and OpEx budgets. And an example of that would be because of the way we've developed our transitions from our existing product lines, we can help a customer phase their upgrades so they don't have to move that budget from OpEx to CapEx.
Okay.
So they can manage over a phased approach, a transition, not have any downtime in their existing system, and pay for it out of an OpEx budget. We'll work with them one-on-one to manage that.
So when you have now, I guess, obviously there's a lot of web services that are coming out that center around the energy services kind of group. You know, you do these energy service retrofits, and you trend them, you trace them. Obviously, you have a lot of data here. Is it something that it's kind of like, well, yeah, we already do that. You just have to kind of put in this module? I mean, as far as like being able to trend pre and post retrofit applications?
We'd be able to, that would not be a problem. I mean, we'd be able to, if we're talking about a pre-retrofit, we would take the trending data out of their existing system.
Right.
We'd have to back that up and archive it. And depending upon the database that it was stored in, we may even be able to bring it straight into SmartStruxure so that they'd have it, be able to compare both side by side.
Okay. And a lot of that, too, has to do with like weather normalization and calendarization. You know, these are some things that you can handle? We
can. And one of the things, best things with web services is the ability to bring in weather data. So with web services in SmartStruxure, I can bring in real-time weather data. I can use that to do predictive analytics, and perhaps I might want to impact the time that I start to heat my building next morning. And I can optimize that difference based on what the weather's doing outside. So if it's 40 degrees versus 80 degrees, I'm going to change the amount of time that I'm going to bring in that outside air temp to warm up my building. And I can do that using weather services and bring that data in and have it impact my control algorithms.
Right, and I think that some people do that, like an optimized start for their systems, but I don't think any of them look at future weather data
and bringing that to plan farther down.
Right.
Usually it's going to be a 24-hour window because, weather forecasting is weather forecasting. So usually at a 24-hour window is the most you're going to go for an optimization strategy like that.
Okay, so you have systems here. They're complex. They're I guess easy to implement. There's a lot to them. We'll just say that.
SmartStruxure is all about simplification, though.
Okay.
So that was a major focus. We had some earlier terms around push-button engineering. It's all about simplification of what is actually a complex system.
Okay. Ultimately, the knowledge of how to do that has to come down from somewhere. So I guess my question is, with Schneider Electric, what kind of training opportunities for engineers who want to learn more about, how to implement it, or building owners who are thinking about implementing it, or contractors that want to say, hey, you know what, these are one of the things that I want to be able to start offering in different projects?
We have a full roster of training available. Significant investment was made on training when we were developing the platform to make sure that our training teams were as competent on this line as they were on any of their other lines. We have training classes that are available for our partner system integrators that talk them through, and we actually have a certification program available where they can take a test and be SmartStruxure certified.
Okay.
And we also have offers that, obviously not to that level, but are available for our end user customers, the people who are actually operating the system within their facilities, to come in and work with them and make sure that they understand how to manage their routine tasks.
Now, let me ask you this. Since you have all the different modules that you have, that you put together, you've packed a lot in there. How does that impact cost compared to other systems that people might opt?
I believe that we are extremely competitive on the industry. I know that obviously we looked at where we stood price-wise in our offer against our existing offers, and we ensured that we stayed competitive. And when you consider the amount of intelligence that's now been built in, I think it's actually a value.
Okay. Excellent. Now, as far as possibly doing video demonstrations, is that walkthroughs and things like that? Are those? Can you schedule those or?
They're widely available. We actually have provided a free demo database that can be downloaded that people are available to play with on their own. Doesn't require any of the hardware. We also have a 5-minute tour. It's a video tour that walks somebody through. It's available. We're actually showing it when we're not using it here. We're showing it on this station as well as the station next door.
Is that what's on the web?
It is. It is.
Okay. And
so you'll receive a copy of it.
All right. Yeah. So if it's on the web, we'll get it in the show notes. Yeah. You don't have to worry about that. What's the best place to learn about this?
SchneiderElectric.com.
Okay.
Of course. Is that the right answer? Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you know what, Kathleen, I appreciate you. Anything else that you want to touch on before we wrap up here?
The only thing that I'd like to just reemphasize is the Schneider vision with the EcoStruxure architecture. So even beyond the building management domain is understanding at a high level where Schneider's going with EcoStruxure. It's going to transform the way we do our business. It's talking about looking at a facility holistically, and it's something that I'm very excited to be a part of.
Yeah, it sounds like a great system. Well, I appreciate the time, Kathleen, and
thank you.
Thanks for talking with me. All right, and we're back. Thanks again to Kathleen Heming for taking the time out of her busy schedule. I know that she had a lot of things to do, but I appreciate her taking the time and kind of describing exactly what this SmartStruxure and how it fits into the whole ecosystem that they've developed there, the structure ecosystem at Schneider Electric. I think this is a great play in the controls market for Schneider Electric. I mean, obviously, they have Andover and different systems like that, but realistically, trying to just get a jump on the competition. This has kind of really changed the game, at least in my opinion. Because each project that I get involved in, there's always this strive to create these dashboards and when I say dashboards, really what I mean is there are technical people from the building management side, and there are people who are maybe not so technical. Maybe they're more management, but they like to be able to keep higher level. Even the technical people, just they don't always want to be bogged down into the minutia of things. They know how to get down and really find out what's wrong. But in the same regard, they don't want to spend a lot of time trying to check over the system. They'd like to be able to have this dashboard, this snapshot of how the system's doing. Are they wasting energy? Are they doing okay? Is there something that's wrong with the system? So just some quick flags to go and make sure that everything is within spec and everybody is being comfortable in the building. So that's really what the dashboard is. It's no more than just kind of a visual way to digest the information rather than having to go in to some of the other custom graphics that controls contractors and control systems usually have. They've gone away from the just lines of code and just kind of a bunch of words on the screen, so to speak, and they've got more graphical. But this is really the first time where I've seen this this dashboard be integrated. A lot of times, what you'll have is a very robust system of the controls, and you will ask for a dashboard, or you'll ask for something that monitors the system. I mean, when you're talking measurement and verification, when you're talking about, okay, if we're going to institute an ECM, energy conservation measure, we want to be able to do a pre and post mortem on this to make sure that it's actually doing what it says it's doing. Well, always in the past, it's always been the purview of whatever expert that the owner brought in to kind of give them that pre and post. But now that they can actually use their own system, it's already integrated in there, and I think that's kind of the game changer, the paradigm shifter, where everything is in the owner's hands. If somebody wants to go in there and use that, they can. So they don't have to necessarily have special software, but they can kind of enable the owner to be able to watch that on a continuous basis if they want. They don't necessarily have to, but at least it gives them the capability. But I think that's really one thing that I think is really great about this. So, other than that, I think it was really incredible that the system really, from soup to nuts, was very a complete solution. It had great graphics. You could integrate it into the CMMS, which is the management system, the management system for the building operators. It tells you about work orders and things like that. So it enables them to kind of get integrated. And again, once you get this, I think I talked a little bit about, when we're talking about BIM, I mean, this is the information that they're trying to kind of, coalesce in this one location instead of having, a piece of software for this, another piece of software for that, this overlays this other piece of software, and it becomes this kind of this jumbled mess. But this really provides a simple solution for the entire package. So, good luck to Kathleen and, good for Schneider Electric for developing something and coming to market with something that seems so powerful. So, other than that, thanks for listening. I really appreciate it, each and every one of you. If you like the episode, pass it on. I'd like to be able to grow the listenership. So don't be stingy with these episodes. Tell a friend, tell a couple, pass it on. And if not, I always if you're into iTunes, go to iTunes and leave me a comment. That would be greatly appreciated. So I think that's really what you can do to help out the show, and really trying to grow the market. Because the more things the more people who listen, the better things that I can do, trying to make it as great as possible. But I have other future aspirations for the show as well. If you want to reach me by email, comments, feedback, show suggestions, that would be matt@buildingx.co. Twitter is @buildingx. LinkedIn, Matt Nelson, PE. Connect with me there. I love to connect with my audience. And also, if you want the newsletter, go to buildingx.co and sign up for it there. I'd love to be able to share information. That's usually where I put the behind the scenes kind of thoughts and feelings on the show. So if you want to get that, do that. And also a couple of interesting tidbits I always like to drop in there that you might be interested in. All right, well, that does it for another week of HVAC 360. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, remember, know what you build and share what you know.